Hello, this is Will Hardy with Man Talk Radio. We are all about breaking down the walls of race and denomination. Your chosen Truth Network podcast is starting in just a few minutes. Enjoy it, share it, but most of all, thank you for listening to the Truth Network podcast.
This is the Truth Network.
Coming to you from an entrenched barricade deep in the heart of central North Carolina. Masculine Journey After Hours. A time to go deeper and be more transparent on the topic covered on this week's broadcast. So sit back and join us on this adventure. The Masculine Journey After Hours starts here, now.
Welcome to the Masculine Journey After Hours. We were starting the show before the show, apparently. We were just talking and then realized that our bump was playing. So
one day we're going to wake up 5 minutes into the show and sorry.
If you listen to it, it actually wasn't that interesting. So, we were talking about camphophonique. So if you don't know what that is, look that up. So, just the things you talk about, the downtime, I'm just saying. Anyway, welcome to Masculine Journey After Hours. And we are finishing a trilogy of 3 topics. That's what trilogy means, 3. So 3 shows. The first one was around Mother's Day, which was our mom's impact on our lives. And then around Father's Day, obviously it's father's impact on our lives. And then Robbie had the idea of let's do one on the kids. And we just tabled it. we had other shows that we were working on. And so we wanted to get back to this. And we also wanted to do it when we had more of a full house, so a lot more people could participate. And so that's what we're doing the show on, the impact that our kids have made. And so in the first episode, we had some of us talk about that. And in the after hours, we're going to continue the conversation. And where we pick up is we have Danny. You have the first clip in the after hours.
Yeah, this is my first merged clip.
It is.
What I did was I reached out to both my kids and said, what's your favorite movie? And so my daughter replied with the movie Rent, which I'd never heard of, but it's a musical that she loves. And so I went to try to find a clip out of that to use to identify what way she impacted me. And then my son had the movie Cars. And so he sent me a scene where the road racers are harassing the rig that's hauling Lightning McQueen. And so both of these clips are merged together, and both of them speak to something about my children they impacted, so we can play it.
Well, before we do that, Andy, you had an observation that if we put Cars and Rent together, we end up with a clip called what?
Rent Cars.
No. I said that hurts.
That hurts, yeah.
It was funnier when you did it before. Anyway, that's still pretty good.
Hey, they messed up my rhythm there.
They did, a little bit.
Well, in the clip for the Rents, they're helping, this group of people are helping this homeless girl. They bring her in and they're trying to help her because she's having some kind of medical issue or something. So that's what's going on there. So that's what you'll hear. I don't know that you'll.
Thanks for the almost clarity.
Well, it's almost. Yeah, so.
Well, I haven't seen it either, so I can't help you. So yeah, we'll go ahead and play it.
That was interesting, too.
It was interesting, too.
There'll be no spoiler alert.
It was actually very enterprising.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still working on the car jokes. Yeah, we find them funny. Anyway, back to camphophonique. You want to talk about that some more?
They would be considered dad jokes. I think.
It would be dad jokes. And we may have something on that coming up. So we will go ahead and play Danny's clip of Rent and Cars, not renting cars, but 2 separate movies from his kids' favorite movies. So here we go, starting with Rent and then moving into Cars.
Yes.
Roger! Anyone, help! We can't get her up the stairs. Hurry up, please!
Mimi.
She's been living on the street. We found her in the park. She wanted to come here. No room on the couch.
Just clear up the table. We'll put her there.
Roger.
I'm back. Raj, we need some heat. Okay, I'll buy some wood and some food.
It's too late for that, man. I'm calling 911.
I'm right here. It's okay.
Mac, you're in the slow lane. This is Lightning McQueen you're hauling here. Just stopping off for a quick breather, kid. Old Mac needs a rest.
Absolutely not. We're driving straight through all night till we get to California. We agreed to it.
All night? May I remind you, federal DOT rigs state...
I need to get there before Chick and hang with Dynaco.
All those sleeping trucks.
Hey, kid.
Hey, yo, DJ. What up? We got ourselves a nodder.
Pretty music.
Yo, Wingo. Lane change, man. Right back at ya. Oops, I missed.
You going on vacation?
Oh no, Snot Rod! He's gonna blow!
So in the clip from Rent, my daughter Kristen has always been one that quick to help. We're gonna play it again. Sam really likes that clip. I
don't know how to not play it again. So there we
Do you
go.
have it on 8-track?
I do. It's repeating.
I think it's play it again, Sam.
It is. It is. But, so you were saying.
Well, before he does that, I have to say that it's one of the funniest things I ever saw was about the time that he was saying, like, we got ourselves a nodder. Kenny over here was
falling asleep.
The Kenny G?
Yeah, the irony is it's Kenny G song. So
we had ourselves a nodder right over here.
I wonder why Andy was nudging him into the other room.
Yeah. Anyway.
So go ahead, Danny. Let's talk about your children.
Yeah. My daughter, Kristen, has always had a heart for others. And the way she impacted me, there's a story of when she was in 5th grade. You know, Kristen never had trouble making straight A's. I mean, she was just a brilliant kid. She's a brilliant adult now. And so she's made straight A's. And all of a sudden her grades started dipping into the B's and stuff like that. And as a parent, you get concerned, you know, why is my child slipping? And so I was kind of hard on her through the end of the year, you know, what's going on? And she really wouldn't say anything. So that summer ran into her teacher and she said, your daughter's something else. I said, well, yeah. And she said, what she was doing was there was a little girl who was Kristen's friend who was struggling with her grades. So Kristen was rushing through her work and taking time with this other little girl to help her so she wouldn't be left behind in the grades. So, you know, she was just pouring into others, you know, selflessly. And that's impacted me that, you know, we are supposed to serve others. And, you know, what a way to show that. And that was the thing. And the Cars clip, my son Cody, who is my stepson technically, but we've never used that term. But he loves this movie Cars, and we've watched it together several times. But there was a time in Cody's life when I used to pack his lunch, and one morning he told me I didn't need to because he didn't eat his lunch or something. He told me some story, and I just, in the busyness of getting ready in the morning, I just blew it off and didn't think no more about it. Well, that evening he comes home, and usually when he was going to have a serious conversation with an adult, it was with his mom. But that evening he had his lunchbox in hand, and he walks right around his mom, and his mom says, son, what do you need? He said, I need to talk to Danny. And this little 7-year-old boy, as big as any man I've ever seen, walked around his mom and confessed to me that he lied to me. And he knew I didn't like people to lie. He lied, and he told me the truth, and he confessed what he had done. And I was just blown away by it. But what he showed me was true repentance. And Michelle looks at me when we sent Cody to his room and said, what are you going to do? I said, I guess I'm going to do what the Bible says God does for us when we confess our sins. I'm going to forgive him, send him on his way. But what an impact that made in my life. I mean, that was over 20 years ago. Both of those stories were over 20 years ago. And I remember those about my kids because, you know, in essence, even though they've grown up, they haven't changed. You know, they're honest, they're good kids. And they still help others and that kind of thing. So, you know, that makes a great impact on a kid and on a father. So,
thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Well, we'll do my clip next. Robbie, to be honest, I didn't think about doing a montage because I could have done that. I didn't really think about that because I kept thinking about I have 4 kids, born, youngest is 17 years younger than the oldest. And so I had kids over many, many years and knew every Disney movie for about 30 years and every animated movie for, a period of time, and watched many of those over and over, such as Aladdin, Tarzan, just many of those, Beauty and the Beast, you name it, The Little Princess. No, Little Mermaid. That one. Yeah, that's what it was. I think she's a princess. I don't know. Anyway, but I didn't use any of those. I used a clip from Jimmy Fallon where people are writing in through Twitter, I think it is, and they're telling stories about their favorite dad stories of things that their dads did that were dad jokes, that were funny. And so I'm going to go ahead and play that and kind of come back and talk about why I chose that clip, and then I'll talk a little bit about my kids. But here we go. This is Jimmy Fallon reading stories from viewers sent in. Here we go.
These are all great. Come on. This one's from @Thomas Honeyman. He says, for 5 years, my dad drove me past a hayfield to school. Every day for 5 years, he pointed and said, "Hey," and laughed. Hey! Just for the commitment alone, it's fantastic. 5 years. This one's from Amanda Koji. She says, before his speech at my wedding, my dad got on the mic and said, "Test, testicles." Come on, that's funny, man.
Oh, come on. He's having a ball.
Oh, yes. I know his dad. Her dad's nuts. This one's from Kendall MK9. She says, whenever my dad goes into a fitting room, he always yells, "There's no toilet paper in here." There's no toilet paper in here. God.
I need a plunger.
This one's from @Stan Voigt. He says, at the movies, when the star would first appear on screen, my father would shout, "There he is." I know it didn't get a giant laugh, but that's my favorite one.
There he is.
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
There you go see any movie, go, "Oh, there he is."
And then elbow the person
So
next to you.
annoying. It's so annoying. It's so great. I love that. Maybe that. "Oh, there he is."
Yeah, that actually, I sent it to all four of my kids. I sent that clip to them and said, I can see myself doing most of those, but definitely that first one, the hey, because there was just some running jokes with my kids and I that's been over years, and that's a generational thing. I remember growing up, my dad would take me the same route out of town when we were going to this other town, that direction, and it always took us around a place called the Mile Square, and so we'd go around there, and there was a round barn on the Mile Square, and my dad must have told me the same joke 100 times, if not maybe 1,000. The first time I fell for it, then after that I just like, okay, come on, Dad. But he'd say, "Did you hear about the guy that died in that barn?" I'm like, "No, there's a guy died in that barn." He said, "Yeah, he couldn't find a corner to pee in." That was his joke, right? And it was like, okay. Then it was funny as 5, so I thought it was funny when I was 5. Not as funny at 15 when he's still telling the joke. But after a while, you just admire the commitment, right? The commitment to the joke. And so some of the jokes that I have with my kids are just commitment oriented, but all those I could see doing. And the reason I wanted to use that is humor has been a big part of my kids and I's life. When we get together, this weekend, 3 of my kids and I were together, and we just laughed a lot, joking with each other, just making fun at things, not making fun of each other in a mean way, but just having fun and enjoying it. And that's it most of the time. We have deep conversations and we do those things, but we just have a shared sense of humor that we enjoy, and it just leads to a lot of fun. My kids and I love traveling together. I travel with my daughter, I travel with my sons, and I travel to see my other daughter. And so, it's great when we travel because we travel well together and we just enjoy each other's company. As far as my kids go, they each have challenged me in different ways to be a better person. The thing that you always want as a parent is that your kids are better than you. They may not realize that, but that's always your desire, that they end up being better people than you are because you know all your faults. The things that you fall short in, and you hope that they do better. And my kids have done better in certain ways than me, and those things challenge me to be better at things. My oldest daughter, Rachel, has never met a stranger. She could talk to anybody and just feel like, she's known you forever and you just feel accepted and loved. Now the conversations never get really deep because she's very, very extroverted, but it's very genuine, and she can talk to anybody for forever, and that's not me. I'm more introverted. It's harder for me to do that, and that pushes me to try to do that with people. And I do try to be more on that side and talk to people more and include people more. My next daughter, Sydney, is just very just oriented. She wants things to be fair for people. To the point where, if we're dividing out candy, everybody better have the exact same amount, down to anything. But she's always got this lens of, is this fair? Right. And so I love to ask her about stuff at times when I have questions, about, hey, let me talk to you about this, because she's an adult, right? So I can talk to her as an adult. But I love to have her feedback on those things, because I know the lens at least she's looking through, and it's not shaded in one direction or the other. It's just in a fairness lens. Does this seem like it's a fair thing? Then I switch over to Caleb, and Caleb just has a way very similar to my oldest daughter, Rachel, but of just being able to genuinely talk to people. You could sit and talk to Caleb forever, and he will make you feel good about talking. He's just very, very good at that. He's very good at learning about you. He wants to know your story. He wants to know about you. And, he gets to know people at a level way deeper than I have. It takes me a lot longer, just because he has a way of asking questions that doesn't make people feel put off or interrogated, but to be invited into, conversation and relationship. And so that pushes me to get better at that. And then Eli is just my quietest child in a lot of ways, but Eli will help you when you don't even know it. He is very much a helper. That's the name that God gave him, is helper. And it was very fitting, because, he will help you in things, and he's always looking at ways to try to help the people he cares about, and he'll go out of his way to help people. And for me, that's a challenge, because I'm pretty selfish when it comes down to it sometimes. When I really look in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm kind of selfish. Like, Rodney, you have this great thing you do with a moving ministry, where you help people move. That's not me. It's like, I'm going to be busy whenever you guys have to move. I'm just telling you. I don't know what weekend it is yet, but I'm busy, because I'm just a selfish person, but I look at Eli, and Eli's not that way. Caleb's not that way. Sydney, Rachel are, and it's a way that just challenges me to get better, and I love my relationships with my adult children. They've not always been great relationships, and, sometimes they're strained, but right now, for the most part, they're going better than they have in a long time.
I just wanted to share my dad's commitment joke. Right? Okay. Every time you crossed a railroad track, every time. And especially if you had somebody new in the car, you were going to get this. I think a train spun through here lately. Really, Dad? Why? Oh, it left its tracks.
I used to tell that one to Cody all the time. And finally, one day he looked at me. He said, "Dad, I think a train went through." I said, "How you know?" He said, "I saw his tracks." Yeah.
So anyway, I love those things. It just brings back so many cool memories.
It does. It's just a commitment, and it's just something that you'll always remember, and that's a cool thing. Kenny, we're actually going to go to your clip, but I think Andy has to set it up.
Yeah, I just want to introduce him. This is actually Kenny Z.
Kenny Z.
Because he's taking a nap over here. So.
Okay, yeah. Come on, ZZ.
Okay.
We'll call you Tops.
Well, my son put this one in. I had 3 sons, Chuck, Kurt, and Shane. But he has 3 daughters. Well, he just now got his sons. He's just turned 1 year old. So, but he set this clip in because it's typically a daughter, because they love that interaction. Mm-hmm. And we'll play the clip, and then we'll go into some other.
Okay. So in this clip, you got a father and daughter, and she's burned some pancakes. Is that correct? And he's trying to salvage it, and she's salvaging it by different toppings.
Oh, yes. And yes.
Yeah, so we'll listen to that, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Allow me to tell you the specials.
Oh, please do.
Pancakes.
Oh.
We have kind of burnt pancakes and really burnt pancakes.
Oh, okay. Well, how much for the regular?
Oh, let me see. $3,000.
And how much for the kind of burnt?
47 cents.
Okay, let me have the kind of burns. Let me have 2 kind of burns, please. Perfect. Now, do we have any condiments or anything like?
What do you mean by that?
You mean like syrup or some honey or some jelly or some anything that might cut the taste a bit?
Ketchup. Chocolate syrup. Hot sauce and mustard.
You know, I would have just went with chocolate sauce or honey or something.
Don't worry, it's yummy.
That ketchup is, wow. That's enough ketchup.
Now, would you like chocolate sauce?
Well, I guess so. Yeah, for the chocolate.
Hollywood.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, let's put a lot on.
Yes, mustard.
Oh, excellent choice. Brown and yellow match perfectly. I think it's going to add some mystery to the dish.
Don't eat it yet. We got the hot sauce.
Hey, what happened to the pancakes?
Perfect.
I think we should say our grace and eat.
Okay.
You pray with Daddy, man.
Okay.
Dear Lord,
Dear Lord,
please protect my daddy's throat.
please protect my daddy's throat.
He never done nothing to nobody, Lord.
You've never done nothing to nobody, Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
And now I'm going to dig in.
Yep, dig in.
And I think it's time to ingest this pancake and be a good... Hey, look, it's Sapita. Oh, this girl, she's gone. Oh, that's the best pancakes I ever had in my life. Can I please see the bill?
Oh, yeah, Bill.
$400,000? You must be out your mind, woman!
But the interaction we have with our kids and then the grandkids, you know, I was picking on one of the men at church. He was expecting his first grandkid. And I said, you're going to understand grand when you see that baby, because that's when it really hit me, love at first sight. Because, you know, when you have your own kids, the first one's, you're still kind of in the shock and learning.
You're scared.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you're terrified. Let's just say what it is.
God, you know, and getting through them situations, you grow.
Yeah.
You grow, and they help you so much to grow. Because I know they made me slow down, and notice little things, especially the granddaughters. You know, the little boys wanted to get into stuff. Now, the granddaughters, now they want to see them little flowers and little rocks and just enjoy that walk through the park.
Yeah, they enjoy the trip, not focused on the destination.
Yeah. Like the boys, let's ready to go swing and all that. But I was blessed with 3 boys, and I was blessed with, 4 granddaughters, and 2 grandsons. So God's been good to me. My oldest granddaughter just got married. Twins. They go by quickly. That's one thing I want to say to everybody. Enjoy these moments. They're precious. Because we never know when God's going to call any one of us home, including their kids.
Wandering around the mall looking for the ultimate soft yogurt.
Oh, yeah. And then you're building precious memories. At the time, they kind of stretch us. But they teach us the deep things of love.
Yeah. Real quickly, then we get to Rodney's clip, but how have your kids impacted your life?
Oh, well, they helped me to really understand and live 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't keep a record. And listen to you guys, these precious memories that you're bringing up and the precious gifts that they are to us. That's what we hold on to. Mm-hmm. And we work through the difficult situations. And we keep working through them because that's part of life. Satan's always trying to tear us apart. And he's a master at that. And it's something we as fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers up the road, we don't know what's up the road, but we hope we get there. And that we can pass on the heritage that Christ, God, Father, started in the garden. Christ redeemed at the cross. And hopefully we can redeem it in our families because we're under attack. Mm-hmm. Our society and Satan hates the family.
Yeah.
He hates us.
He does.
And he hates any true relationship, and he tears at us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rodney, I talked so long you didn't get time to get your clip in. I'm so sorry. Would you like to talk about the topic a little bit?
Yeah, well, I was really struggling to find a clip. And, I normally cut Jim's, and he couldn't find a clip. So we're in kind of the same boat. And then I found this clip that was on a girl that at 3 years old was a prodigy. She's in Mensa at 3 years old. And it played through that. And kind of where I went with it was, boy, when we first were becoming dads, we found out, we're having a child. Who didn't just go, oh, well, my child's going to be this. My child's going to be that. And then when they were trying something out, they're so smart. They're walking already. They're doing all these things. You're just like, oh, this is going to be so great. It's like, oh, yeah, it's all about me. I'm reliving my life through my child. I certainly did that with my son and sports and stuff because we were pretty close in doing all those things. And my daughter went in a completely different direction, riding horses, which was beautiful because it opened me up to something that I never would have had an experience with. So having one boy, one girl, completely different in how they approach and attack everything, for me, it was just constantly that learning process of constantly being able to learn that I can love in different ways. And even every time I screw up, they still loved me. I remember how many times I just said, I'm sorry. Dad was bad here. He shouldn't have said this or done that. And all those things that happened over those years. And you're like, wow, you guys are raising me, and you, that's the beautiful part about family. You get to raise each other and do all those things. And we're talking about movies. My wife was a big movie buff. She always loves to watch movies. And that's what we did as a family most of the time was just, okay, later in the evening, like you just said, the Disney movies and all those things. So just spending that time, that quality time together. It's like, man, if you would have had the prodigy and or this great athlete, or they had this big special gift, you got to figure out, how do I deal with all that when you just want to love on each other?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the impact on me was, just be loving and take the ordinary, and that's what becomes extraordinary, because all those little things are just wonderful. And you don't have to have some big thing. All the little things are wonderful.
Well, thank you. Jim, you wanted to add a little bit to that?
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, which I'm not good at, but I had my kids. We had our kids when we were kids. We had 2 children when we were 22 and 20. 3 children when we were 22 and 24. I was selfish. You covered that. But unconditional love, both ways, is what got us through it. I've got 3 great kids now. My daughter gave me a little block of wood when she was 6 or 7 that had music notes and a cross on it, and it's still sitting in my bathroom because it meant so much to me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate that.
You got to give us a big word, I promised.
Yeah, you got a big word?
No.
Okay. All right, well, we won't go there. Go to masculinejourney.org to register for the boot camp coming up November 16th through 19th, masculinejourney.org.
This is the Truth Network.